Which one is right for you? My name is Marlene. Welcome to our home and garden channel. Now let's take a look and see what we've got for you today. Bearded iris versus Siberian iris. Which one is right for you and your garden? We're going to take a look at both the pros and the cons for these plants, and you can make that decision when we get to the end of the video, or maybe even before. For bearded iris, they are so beautiful. They're spring blooming flowers, and they grow in growing zones 3 to 10. And typically for the dwarf varieties, they may be anywhere from 8 inches to 12, with the regular ones being, I would say, up to about 40 inches in height. These are the larger ones you're seeing here that I grow. They come in many, many different colors. Sometimes they'll have just one color. Sometimes they'll have 2 colors. One here, a white one actually grew, and it did not come back after that, but I enjoyed it while it was there. I'm not sure why it just popped up, but it did, and then it, went away. Now they do grow from fleshy underground stems called rhizomes, kind of like a ginger root it looks like. The true roots are the little narrow ones that you see below, and the rhizome is an underground stem. Your Siberian iris, they are growing zones 3 to 9, absolutely gorgeous as well too. And the dwarf varieties for these usually are about 12 inches or so, and they can go anywhere from 2 to 4 feet. They also grow from rhizomes as well too, but they're more fibrous, they're a lot tougher, they're narrower. And so if you take a look at the back, this is a new one coming out. Those little white spots you're seeing is where the true roots are going to come from, because the thicker part is not the root. And it's not to be confused with your Dutch iris. Dutch irises, they grow from bulbs, so that's the main difference between them. They look very similar, but again, they are different. So because your bearded iris has these very fleshy, thick rhizomes, they really need to be in well-drained soil. Also, they will need to be divided every 5 to 6 years or so. So these are the true roots right here, and when you plant them, those are the parts that go in the soil, and the rhizome, the thicker part, that sits right on top because they are subject to root rot, so you don't want them to be low. Maybe just a little dusting, a little light covering of soil, but not anything too deep. These, on the other hand, they don't have that kind of a problem. They pretty much go pretty low enough, so you don't have to worry too much about those rhizomes. And they're just so gorgeous. And they're pretty low maintenance, I would say. And they're really pretty. But they also have different things about them, too, that we have to look at as well. But boy, are they gorgeous. They typically bloom in about May for me, while the bearded iris blooms in about April. So they're not usually there at the same time. But that's fine. Once one has finished and the other one comes behind, so that works out perfectly fine for me. Now, even before they do come up with those pretty petals, you can see that they still look good. The bearded iris right here has a kind of like a blue-green undertone to it, or overtone if you want to call it that. And the Siberian iris, those tend to just have like a white look. But either way, the leaves still look good, and they should look nice and healthy. It's more of a grass-like leaf for your Siberian iris. Now, what I'll say about the Siberian iris is that they are very pest resistant. I've had them for over 15 years and I've never seen any pests on them before. The bearded iris, sometimes they will get, like spider mites. They may get like little weevils, or sometimes aphids. And I just make my own insecticidal soap, and I will link some in the description box. Sprayed over on there, and it helps. Or you can just wash them off with your hose if you're seeing aphids on there. There is something called leaf borer that, makes its way through the leaves and can end up down in the rhizomes down here, like what you're seeing right here. And if that happens, just go in and take them out, because, it can spread to the other plants because they grow pretty close to each other. So just take them out, and be sure not to put them in the compost pile if you have one, because you don't want that coming back into your garden. So just, put them in the trash and get rid of them. Now, rabbits do not like them. I guess they like to admire them, but they don't like them, which is perfectly fine for me. So they are rabbit resistant, both types, the bearded and the Siberian. So you don't have to worry about them. Thank you so much to my son for capturing this image for me. He came in one day and saw them, and he just started saying, "Let me get them from mom." Thank you. So over here now, because the Siberian iris is a bit of a spreader, you can go ahead and put them in containers if you like. You can put bearded iris in containers too, but make sure that it's at least, I'd say, about 14 inches at the least, because they are large and you need to have that balance in your container for these, because they're not so prone to root rot. These Siberian iris right here, you can bury the rhizomes maybe about 1 inch to 2 inches in the soil, and it's not going to bother them too much. They will still be perfectly fine. And we just go in and put them in and just press in a little bit, and that should be okay. And if you're liking this video so far, be sure to give me a thumbs up so that way it can get recommended to others, so they can get that information and get a chance to get these wonderful plants in their garden as well, or at least make a decision about which one they might prefer. And typically I try to plant my flowers or veggies or fruits before it rains. I water them, of course, but if the rain also falls on them afterwards, it always just gives them that extra boost so they can really be off to a good start. So if you can time it out, I would. If you can't, then just water them and they should be good to go. And so this is what happened the following spring, because I did plant that in the fall and I got 2 little buds that were coming out, and I was so happy to see them. When you put something down for the first time, you're like, is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work? And then there you go. The answer is right there. And then in a matter of a few days, the first bloom opened up, and it was so gorgeous to me. It just meant so much. And my rose is there right there looking on, and it was so nice on my little back patio for that time. So I was quite happy about that. Now, as far as your bearded iris go, you typically want to plant these in the fall. But if you're not able to, you can always get the bare roots. In this video, I showed you, this was actually a Walmart shop with me, and they had these on sale. And it's just one that's in there, but they just showed you that they had so many different varieties there. So if you missed this, you can still watch a video. I'll put it in the description box. You can take a look at it. But if you miss it, you can still order these online. Bear in mind, it's going to be one though that you're going to get. So, that's something to think about. You can always wait until, next time around to get some. And I just wanted to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to our channel. My husband and I, we do lots of gardening topics, tips, and tours, just to give you a wonderful garden experience as we learn and grow together. And so be sure to hit the notification bell twice, so you'll always get recommended, or it will be recommended to you, and we thank you for that. Now, as far as deadheading these plants go, you typically want to just go in and cut off your spent blooms from your bearded iris as soon as it has, gone, faded out, because that way it puts more energy into the plant, because they're so large. These blooms for me are maybe like about, 5.5 inches long and about 4 inches wide. So they do need that extra energy. So taking off the ones that are going to cause seed production, you want to take those off. And also at this time, you can take a look to see if there are any pests on there. You can always just spray off your aphids with your hose, and they should be fine. Now for the Siberian Iris, you can go in and deadhead them too, because it makes it look a lot neater in your garden. So you can go in and take them off. It's going to be a lot more though, I will say, because they're smaller and you'll have more blooms. But if you have a nice quiet time, you can just do it in your garden. And I'll put a link to similar, pruners like these, because you need to have those, a nice sharp one. If yours are going older, you can get some and, get going with that. As far as mulching goes, your bearded iris, you typically would not want to put like wood mulch on there, because, that can cause the rhizomes to rot under there. They're very susceptible to that. So, and they like dry conditions, so drier soil. So we use river pebbles, and that works very, very well with us, because it does rot down on them. It just stays there, and we find it to be the perfect solution for this plant. So these over here, though, the Siberian Iris, they prefer their soil to be a little bit moist, not waterlogged or soggy or anything like that. So, the bearded iris prefers it drier, and they prefer it a little bit more moist. So what I did was to put them at a spot in the garden where the downspout, when it rains, goes over to where they are. It's to the right, further back. You can't see it right there, but it makes sure that area is a little bit more moist, than the other things that are there. You put them in a container, just water them more frequently, because they don't want to dry out, to bone dry. Now let's take a look at what happens in October for these plants. So typically what's going to happen is at the end of summer going into the fall, they're going to dry down like you're seeing here. It's a natural part of the process. The plant isn't dying or anything. You just go in and just clean them up as best as you can. If you're seeing like little roots around the area, you can take those out. And I had a specific video where I did this, and I will be linking that playlist at the end. It has all the different videos, talks about why they may not be blooming, pests and diseases, how to clean up the roots. They're all in there, so I'll put it there. You can just choose the one that's most appropriate for any additional questions that you might have. But This is just a part that has to be done, because if you cut the leaves back too early in the spring, then you're not going to get blooms the following year. So it makes sense to just hold off a little bit or plant some flowers in front of it, that's going to cover all of that so you can kind of, disguise it, kind of like hide it back there. So that's a tip as far as those go, different ways to overcome that situation there. So this is a fall right here. This is my myrtle tree overhead, and the bark is peeling, which is a part of the process. It's supposed to do that, and it fell on them, so I just left it there so you could see it anyway. But you can see that they're changing color right there, and this is what we want. We want for those Siberian Iris to get a little bit yellow, and then we can go in and clean it up. Because they are a lot, it will take a little bit out of you. So what I'd say the best thing to do, if yours has spread, of course, you'll want to use like shears like these to just go in and just trim them back. Be sure that they're sharp so we're not damaging the leaves. Or you can have it dry all the way down in the fall and just pull them back away in the spring. But I like to tidy them up, so you can decide. Now, as far as the blooming goes, when you just started off with these plants, maybe for the first year, typically maybe have maybe 1 or 2 blooms because they really need energy, so they have to come up. But as the years go by, they're going to explode in flowers for you, like how mine have. Similar situation with the Siberian Iris as well too. You have to give them a little bit of time, but once they get going, they really do get going, and you absolutely enjoy them. And it is certainly worth the wait, guys. Just look how beautiful they are. I look forward to them every spring to get to see them. And I know my neighbors do, passers-by do. It's just such a wonderful sight to see. They're both so beautiful. So, take a look at them, guys, and decide, which one you think would be best for you. But if you are wanting to get some of these, as far as getting the Siberian ones, they're on different sites like you see right here. You can always, just go in online, check them out and see what they have, what colors you want and the size, if they're dwarf or if they're regular size, and just read the reviews, guys. So now, we're at the end, coming close to it. So choices. So we talked about the pros and cons, so it was for you to decide which one you think would be best for you. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably already know she's going to say both because I just love flowers. I just think they're so pretty. They lift your mood. They're great for the environment. They're great for pollinators. It's just, there's so many pluses to these plants. And when they fade out, the leaves still look pretty. They still look good. You can just, put other things with them and they'll be okay. So either way, it still works out. And I think the rabbits agree. It's just so funny how they just sit there and they don't move once you've seen them. It takes a long time for them to move up. They're like, who's going to move first? It's so funny. I love them though, because they don't harm my plants. So I'm perfectly fine with that. So thank you to my channel members. Thank you to those of you who share my videos with people who like gardening. And if you're coming here for the first time, I certainly hope that you will consider subscribing to our channel. We appreciate it so much. I hope you have a wonderful garden season. If you have any comments or questions, sweet comments, of course, be sure to leave them below and we'll be happy to take a look. And also you can visit the description box to see, the items that are there if it's something that may be helpful to you, for your garden needs. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. Happy gardening. And I do hope to see you in the next one. Take care.